There we go.
Okay, is there anything else on my end?
So we're live, Christy? It says we're streaming live now. Okay.
We are, give us about 30 more seconds.
Okay. Thank you for your patience trying to do all this technical stuff. So we live stream it on YouTube as well. So.
It is. Okay, I think we're ready, President Holton.
Okay, thank you very much. All righty, it is 4:04 and I am going to call to order the PCOE PUSD joint board meeting. Will you all please stand for the flag salute? And I'm going to have Lisa lead us in the flag salute.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Fine. Here. Ellen.
Here. Here.
Is Reed present? Yes, here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Patty. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the PCOE PUSD agenda.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Dave.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jolene. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, number 6, is a remote meeting determination, AB 361. Went into effect October 1st of 2021. Allows us to hold our meetings remotely if certain circumstances exist. We are putting this in place in the event that next month's meeting presents any kind of risk to health or safety of the attendees. So I'm looking for approval of the board to hold next month's meeting remotely if necessary.
Move to approve.
Jody, thank you. Thank you, Leslie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Great, motion carries. Next item, number 7, is our presentations this afternoon. The Principals Recognition Award, Ms. Brockman. We've got 2, one from the GES and one from GHS this afternoon. Just a reminder, we need to unmute the Greenville microphone.
Okay, can you hear us okay?
No, Jim.
All right, so I have a special presentation for Savannah Vaughn. She received the principal's recognition today. It says that it is for exceptional pupils who do well academically and accomplish great things in and out of school. So we're recognizing you for this special award, and I will read something that Mrs. Kingdon wrote for you, okay? All right, about to go to my computer and read it. Savannah has been selected for the Principal's Recognition Award tonight because she has great character. She is always kind to classmates and teachers. The students know that they can count on her to be their friend and be kind. As a teacher who has worked with Savvy through independent study during COVID distance learning days and part of this last year and now this year, I can tell you that Savvy is a self-motivated. She works hard. Because she cares about her. Stop the reverb. She works hard because she cares about her own learning. She wants to succeed and she works hard to ensure that she does. I'm confident that Savvy will achieve whatever she sets her mind to. She has an admirable balance of being a go-getter while remaining kind, conscientious. I want her to know that even though she's very quiet, her character does not go unnoticed. We all appreciate you and we're very proud of you. Savannah Vaughn. And what we're gonna do is turn this around. There you go. Okay. And then we're gonna stand this way so people can take pictures. Smile. Thank you. Thank you, Savannah. Thanks.
Congratulations, Savannah.
Okay, could you hear us okay?
Can, thank you.
All right, our junior senior high principal's recognition goes to Callie Banks. Come on up, Callie. Okay. There you go. Yeah, turn toward the audience. There you go. Okay, Callie is tenacious. She's dedicated to her work and school spirit. Throughout this year, she's worked diligently at sports events, including concessions for football and as an energetic athlete for varsity volleyball. She was a key player in getting preparations done for our homecoming celebration, and it was a great success for our students. She didn't hesitate to come to school on the Friday of our professional development day when students didn't have to come to school to get all the finishing touches ready for homecoming. Sometimes Callie can be a loud voice in the classroom, but she means well and she works hard. She's a good friend and overall positive influence on her younger peers. As vice president of ASB, she's shown that she has the skills to be a leader and an asset in rebuilding our community. Callie's looking forward to playing basketball and then softball in the spring. Her coaches say that she's a dedicated ball player and they enjoy coaching her. She is working hard to keep her grades up and she wants to graduate with her diploma saying Greenville High School, as she's very proud of where she comes from. Callie Banks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Callie.
Congratulations, Kelly. Okay, Mr. Ferris, are you there?
Can you hear?
Update on your science program. Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over Zoom and share my screen. Then we will have the slideshow. I have a slideshow to accompany what I'm talking about. You all see that coming up?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well then, I'll go ahead and get started. So I am Mr. Ferris. I am the science teacher here at Greenville Junior Senior High School. It's my belief that in order for a school to be up running and wonderful, we need a strong academic background. So I have a slew of wonderful labs and activities that I'm going to be showing you all in this slideshow today. So this is the first activity lab I wanted to show you guys today. This is one that I did with my sixth graders. I called it the Shadow Lab. So sixth grade science focuses on astronomy and understanding the space science. So this was a lab that went on for about a month, and about 2 or so days every week, what they would do is they would go outside and using a meter stick and some clipboards, they held a meter stick up tall. They would measure the length of the shadow, and then every day we would go out there throughout the month. They would go back outside and they would go back and re-measure the length of that shadow. The point of it was to gauge the position of the sun and see how it changed throughout the month. By the end of it, they saw that they collected showed that yes, the sun did change position because that shadow did get longer. The next one, this is another lab that I did by sixth graders. This one was called the gravity lab. I wish I would have got a couple pictures of it in action, so it was a pretty cool one. The idea of the gravity lab is the students did an activity that helped them measure gravitational force. Every object on planet Earth, regardless of mass, feels the same attraction to the planet. So something as big as a bowling ball or as small as a pencil, regardless of size, it will fall to the ground at the same time. So what the students did is they got on top of the bleachers. You can kind of see in this picture, we're kind of behind them here, going over data. With each of these objects, we had a baseball, a bowling ball, and a pencil. They'd go up. One person would drop it. The other person, one person would drop it. The other person would be at the bottom. They would time on the tip to get to the bottom. And a third person would be a recorder measuring the data. They found that regardless of size, every object fell to Earth at roughly the same time. The next lab I have to show you, this comes from my 8th grade physical science class. This was our penny lab. This actually happened just this week, started last week. And the object of this lab was to measure surface tension of liquids. Water especially, its particles have an innate attraction to each other. And this leads to a sort of skin at the top of liquids, which holds liquids in place if you collect them enough. And the 8th graders and 7th graders did a lab where they measure how strong the surface tension is. So you can see right here, what they did is they took a pipette and they put water on top of the penny, a drop at a time. And you can see with regular water, it beads up quite a bit because the surface tension holds it all in place. That was their control group. They then moved on to an experimental group where they tried it with soapy water, and we're going to talk about it more tomorrow, actually. But they'll find that with the soapy water, it doesn't have as much surface tension because the soap hinders it, so they could fit less drops on that penny. This picture itself, I want to give a shout out to Taylor Vaughn here because she was actually the person who took this picture. So shout out to Taylor. It's something that I've been thinking about in my classes where students kind of communicate the results with each other. And Taylor did a wonderful job of actually just capturing the moment with this picture. I love the contrast between the foreground of the penny and the pipette here on the left side, and you have the flasks and her binder on the back. And it just strikes me, not as just a picture, but just a work of art. I was just so impressed by the picture here. And you'll see the next picture here was one she took today too. It's just the lighting, the angle, the difference in resolution between the foreground and the background. I was just very impressed, which is why I wanted to show you guys this picture today. So it inspired me. I think I'll do something in the future where I think of ways for them to report out findings either verbally or with pictures to each other in the future. So again, she is here today, so I didn't want to put it out to her. Very impressive photos. I was very impressed by it. The next lab that my 7th and 8th graders did, this one's called the electrolysis lab. This is probably one of my favorites at that class. For this one, they were studying different types of energy. And so the energy that they saw in this lab was electricity. And they were using this electricity to separate a substance called copper chloride. It's this blue liquid you see in the speaker here on the bottom left of the TV. They used electricity to separate the copper chloride molecules into its separate solid copper atoms and gaseous fluorine. So at the bottom left here, what students will find is on one electrode they create, it'll actually collect this kind of black gunky solid, that's our solid copper. And on the other one, you'll see kind of small little bubbles come out of it. That's our gaseous fluorine. So on the side picture here, this is kind of our students in action. I announced before I was going to take a picture. So some are posing and smiling, others are just kind of working here. But this is kind of what my classroom looks like in action, where each station, they have their copper chloride electrolysis lab set up, and they are monitoring the observations with the timer as well. Really cool lab, and I think they really enjoy it. So the next thing I want to showcase here, just a kind of general activity both my middle school and high school classes do, are field journal entries. I think my second year teaching back in 2015, Rob Wade, had a wonderful training with John Bruce Laws, and it showed us teachers the benefits of having students field journal what they see outside. It's a wonderful way of having students study natural phenomenon more closely. The specifics of the activity varies with the grade level that I have. My high schoolers do what's called a bi-weekly photo point, where they choose some kind of scenery or living object, and they go back out every other week to sketch it and see differences. This entry right here is a sixth grader named Kylie. This was from the other week when we came to school and didn't have power. So this was actually our plan B assignment for the day, is doing an outside field journal activity, but I thought it was a very strong activity because we were able to kind of see and ask ourselves, what does an early onset of snow do and how does it impact the natural landscape? So students sketch what they do using the prompt that I give them. They can also choose to explain what they've drawn with captions, and then we'll come together as a class afterwards towards the end of the class and kind of discuss what we drew and what we saw. So the next one, this is an activity that quite a few age groups between Greenville Elementary and Greenville High School did. About a month ago, we went to the cemetery trail on the other side of the highway, and we did restoration work on that trail, which was, as you will see, heavily impacted by the Dixon Fire. I want to give a shout out to the sixth graders sweatshirt right here, actually, that's Peyton. The quote is, "Don't trip over what's behind you." It was a complete accident that she was in the back of the line and I just happened to take a picture, but I feel like that slogan very well kind of explains what we're doing, right? Where this horrible thing happened to us, but we're doing our best to kind of come back from it and recover as a community. And I feel that activities like these do really well in helping us recover because not only are we helping ourselves recover and each other, but we're also helping the landscape itself recover. So what they did is they went to the trailhead, and with some help with some folks orchestrated by Rob Wade, they learned how to use these tools called McLeods, and they were able to use those tools to help restore that trail. After the Forest Service and other parties came through and kind of cut back snags that were in danger of falling, there's a lot of wood chips and other stuff that's on the trail, and using those McLeods, my students went in and started clearing the trail away. So you can see on the left here, that's kind of when they just started. And on the right, that's kind of towards the end of our period of time, and you can kind of see that trail come out. Before I move on, I also want to give a shout out here. It was the author of the field journal entry, and it's also this student right here, Kylie. Her father was a Greenville High School student. I can't give a date, I don't want to guess, but back when her father was a student as a teenager, his senior project was actually to work on this trailhead and to officially sanction it to the Forest Service. So I just think it's wonderful that through all the stuff that our school is going on, we still have those strong generations that are, you know, showing up and contributing to our school and our community. It was a wonderful day. It was great to see all of the students out there and get back to the environment.
He graduated in 2010.
2010, there we go. Okay. I didn't want to guess this. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, and the last picture I had to show you, this was our sixth grade outdoor ed trip called Fred. A lot of us are familiar with Fred, but I wanted to kind of give my own combination of in sharpened and blurred pictures. For those that don't know, Fred is a quintessential outdoor field trip that the sixth graders do at the beginning of the year. Gosh, it's been going on for decades now. Rob Wade says he's starting to get the grandkids of the students that he first got, I think, in the late 80s, early 90s, is what he was saying. Basically what it is, it's almost a week-long trip, about 4 days. They go to a place called the UC Forestry Camp. It's about 10 minutes west of Quincy. And through those 4 days, they do a series of outdoor tasks, outdoor learning adventures, outdoor hikes, and a bunch of other really cool stuff to learn about the natural environment and to get some really cool stuff. So it is really blurry, but the left picture right here, this is Rob with this kind of front and center blackboard. That's where he bases a lot of the lessons from the week on. Some other really good highlights at the bottom here. This is our first night there. We did a hike to a waterfall. It was really cool because we just had the rain there, so everything was green, beautiful, popping, and at the end of it, we had this beautiful waterfall. It's such a shame it was a blurry picture reception was horrible today, but it was quite a sight to see. At the top right, they were all in a circle and they were kind of playing a game where they learned about different types of soil. And at the bottom left, this is our second day in. We were out for another hike. It kind of started raining halfway through, not a ton, just a light drizzle. And, we were all a little bit cold and a little grumpy, but towards the end of it, it stopped raining and it's kind of hard to see, but we have this wonderful, beautiful double rainbow come out. So it was like a wonderful omen of a great hike to be. So yeah, that is our slideshow. That is the pictures I have to show you all today. Just really excited to be back here. Really excited to come back from all the crazy things that have been going on. I'm excited to be the science teacher here to help drive the school to a wonderful future. And as you guys can see, we have some wonderful activities and labs for the kids to do as they come back to their education here at Greenville High School. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ferris. And we appreciate the update.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is our student representative to the governing board. And at this time, Mr. Keller, I'm going to turn it over to you to do the introduction and to also administer the oath of office to Callie.
Absolutely, thank you. Callie, please stand and raise your right hand.
Right there's good. The camera will track you.
We were hoping we'd be able to see him as well.
Can you see Callie okay? Okay, I see heads nodding.
Can we put the HDMI cable with first?
Yeah.
So, please repeat after me. I, Callie Banks, do solemnly swear
Callie Banks, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
That I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California.
that I take this obligation freely
That I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah. And the copy here.
Okay, Kelly, do you have an update on what's been going on at Greenville High School?
Yes.
All right, can you see Callie? There we go.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank you, board members, for having me speak tonight. My name is Callie Banks. I'm a junior here at GHS and vice president of ASB leadership. Last year, I attended Quincy High School and I couldn't wait to come back to Greenville High. I miss being here and being around my friends who I grew up with. This year, I played volleyball and I'm now looking forward to basketball. Coming back this year has been different. There are not as many students and we also have sixth graders on campus. It has been an adjustment for all of us, but we are finally getting into a routine. We didn't have computers right away, so we have been playing catch up in our classes. We have a new teacher, Mr. Craig, and Mrs. Phillips is here half-time at GHS and GES. We are glad to see the familiar faces of Mr. Ferris, Mrs. Catacomo, Mr. Brown, and Mrs. Dolphin. They help make it feel more like home. My leadership class has taken on the job of keeping our halls decorated and interesting. We have our monthly birthday sign to let students know we are glad they are here. We have locker signs, and we just finished with Halloween and Red Ribbon Week, and now we are going on to fall and Thanksgiving. For Red Ribbon Week, the ASB leadership officers went to the elementary school and gave a little presentation on saying no to drugs. Each officer made a sign with a different saying, and then we played the hokey pokey with the spin on the words to say we don't do drugs at all. Homecoming activities were held on Thursday, October 26th, because we did not have school that Friday. We made class signs to beat Westwood, chalked the pavement by the gym. We did an all-school lunch with pizza, fruit, and root beer floats. After lunch, we played candidate games and class games, cornhole and ping pong, and then voted for royalty. Leadership students came to school on Friday to finish decorating a float and putting up the signs for the game. We won the football game against Westwood and then had a dance party with the students. We had lights, music, food, and we played a hard-fought game of musical chairs. Now we will be looking forward to Veterans Day and Thanksgiving breaks. When we come back, it will be the start of basketball season. The Greenville Indians will be hosting the John Holland Invitational Basketball Tournament on December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I can't believe 12 weeks of school has already passed, and before we know it, the first semester will be done. Happy holidays to everyone. I will see you in the spring with another report.
Very nice report. Thank you very much. Okay, any questions of board members of Callie? Great job, Callie. All right, next item on the agenda is our public input. I'm going to start by asking each of the sites. I'm going to start with Portola. Do you have anyone there wishing to speak in public comment?
No, we don't.
Okay, thank you. Quincy?
Yes, there's one member of the public. Mr. Butler.
So thank you, board members, for letting me make a comment. I'm Helen Lemna. I am the art specialist for Quincy Elementary for PCOE. This is a COVID money, and apparently that money might last through the year. So it's been a great experience, and I'm so grateful that in all communities, arts is available to all the elementary students as well as the high school students. So I do want to thank you for all your hard work through our tricky times, and especially recently coming to an agreement for our updated contract. Thank you so much. Christy Warren has given me the privilege to represent our school district as a co-lead for arts instruction. I have been for many years a champion for particularly arts integration in the I attend regional and statewide meetings focusing on making the arts equitably accessible to all students, in our case, to all our rural students. With the passing of Prop 28, yes, I am elated to know that our district will receive additional funding for the arts. That is excellent. I am also pleased to report that there are now 3 resources available to establish a robust strategic plan for the arts as part of our LCAP. That strategic plan would make us more eligible for state funding. So the timing is perfect to take action this year. I am retiring this June, and I am very motivated to help facilitate the fine-tuning of our strategic plan for the arts before the end of this school. Next week, I will attend a statewide meeting in Sacramento with all the county art leaders. I look forward to report to you through Christy Warren. I trust that our beautiful national community can become a model of bringing all the arts, visual arts, media art, theater, dance, and music to all.
Thank you. We'll move on to Greenville. Any public comment in Greenville?
If you have one more in Quincy.
We do? Okay.
I'd like to do that at the end.
Okay. Any comment in Greenville, Patty?
No, we don't have comments here.
Okay, thank you. And here in Chester, we have Stephanie Raker. She is wishing to speak at public comment.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, board
can hear you.
members. Hello. So I have a couple of topics that I'm hoping that you can help me get resolved. I've tried doing it on site and that hasn't worked. The first is September 19th, I came in person and had a conversation with our principal regarding hats, which I know is like you guys are over the hat thing. And I'm not going to talk about that, but I did bring up the gay pride flags and the BLM flag. It's a poster actually that's rainbow colored inside that hanging in the classroom. And I feel very strongly that a classroom should be a very neutral environment. And so then on September 26th, I followed that up with an email. And in that email, I specifically asked that that be removed. Then on September 29th, our superintendent said that he was going to be reaching out to legal to figure out like whether they can hang it, whether they can't hang it, whether they should take it down, leave it up. In my opinion, it should have been removed until legal was advised, but yet still up until today, they hang in the class. My son, who attends school here on September 29th, he sent an email to pusd.pcoe.k12.ca.us. And in that, he specifically said that it was offensive to him and he felt like his life mattered too. As of today, which is November the 9th, I have still not been contacted and there has been no resolution to this. And so that's that. Thank you for hearing me. The next topic that I have, so on September 27th, I received a phone call that my son was suspended from school. And when I talked to our principal, he said that the kids were using eye black and he made blackface. Well, I'm thinking to myself that he like put black all over his face with the eye black. Maybe I'm naive. Apparently I am. So when I got home, my son, he turned his phone on in his pocket. We have a 29-minute conversation of these boys being told they are racist, being told that this was a racial slur, being told that this was blackface, even despite the fact in the very beginning, the boys say they don't understand. I don't even know what you're talking about. They laugh, they think that it's funny because they have no clue at all. And Jack in the beginning specifically states that this is a TikTok. It's somebody named Drip King on TikTok. And so I'd like to show you the picture. And this was posted on social media. And it was hashtagged Chester Pride. This is the photograph that these boys were accused of blackface. This picture here is one of the boys who is a lacrosse player, which is specifically stated. Jack says it's a lacrosse player. And you can notice that Jack's hand, right? It's this whole four thing. It's just a TikTok, whatever, kid thing, right? So then for those that don't know, I mean, this is blackface. These are boys playing with eye black who play football, play baseball, maybe not appropriate during school hours, but they were downright accused of this. So then I came in, we had trying to set up a time. I ended up coming in with my husband on October 28th. And we had a meeting, and with their permission, we were able to record the meeting. During that meeting, they, both of our principal and vice principal were asked to listen to the video and to hear the way that the children were spoken to, the way that they were accused, the way that they were screamed at. He was screaming at the kids, "This is offensive to me, Zach, look at my eyes, it's offensive to me." But yet I can show you on my phone a picture from December the 1st on a field trip that these kids went on with their teacher, where these kids literally have their face covered in black dirt that is all over their face. So I don't know that you can see. So this is Jack, who's my son, and this is Colby. He's the other boy who is in the picture with the eye black on. So this was a school function with the very same person that screamed at the student that it was offensive. So we came in and had a conversation with both of them on October 28th. And I, again, not only do I, but all of the parents feel like these kids who were using eye black, which is a lacrosse thing, it's a TikTok thing, it's our football team thing. It's everywhere. These children were not at all being racist. These were 13-year-old boys that had eye black at school and were messing around with it exactly like they see. So I have put together for the board pictures. I have all of the emails. I am totally okay with airdropping if you all would like to hear such video. I have also taken the recording and gone by time and recorded verbatim what was said on this. So I will give this copy to the board as well. So when we had this meeting on the 28th, I felt like it was only fair if these boys had their suspension revoked. I did receive a letter on the 29th from Mr. Roderick saying that if nothing harassing happens throughout the school year, that then the suspension will be revoked. The suspension at 13 years old, it's no good. Your CUME file starts at 14. I know better. And I ask that these boys be publicly apologized to. My son plays football in Susanville, and his football coach asked him if he was part of the blackface thing that happened in Chester. 13-year-old boys told they were racist, told it was racial slur, told them that it was blackface. And even when I asked them to publicly apologize to these children and to revoke this suspension that never should have happened in the first place, that was on October 29th. It's November 9th. This has been going on for a long time. And these boys, one of the boys that's in that photograph, he left Chester. He went to live with his grandmother in like Minnesota for 5 weeks because he was so freaked out over what happened that he was never going to outlive it in our small town. So I ask of you, board, to please see, I will give you all of these papers. Please take the time to go through them. I really feel strongly about the fact that these children were wrongly accused of this. And again, I really feel like a classroom should be a neutral environment. We don't hang Trump flags. We shouldn't be hanging gay pride flags and BLM flags. So I thank you very much for your time, and I will make sure that you all receive a copy of this.
Okay, and thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And you can also submit your report. You, as I mentioned in our
Yes,
emails,
ma'am.
you can also send that to the superintendent as well.
Okay,
So,
I'll
okay.
scan all of those and get
Okay.
those out to you folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, making sure I've gone to all the sites in my mind. Any other additional comments in Quincy? Christy, I think you said there was one more in Quincy.
One more, actually, I think Superintendent Roderick's going to start, and then we'll go to trustee Edlin.
Okay,
So, good evening, everyone. Apologize that the weather had us not have this in person, so we could honor two people tonight. I'm going to speak of one. I believe in Chester, we had some flowers delivered earlier. And I can't totally see, but I'm going to speak of the excellent work that Lisa Cavan has done for the Plymouth County Office of Education, Plymouth Unified School District. She came in as the CBO and what were not great times, and through a steady hand and common sense approach, she's really set this district up to be fiscally sound. And she did it through transparency and honest conversation and a sincere commitment to the education of students. And, in the echelon of upper management and school district, there's always a time where, people present opportunities and you have to look at them. And as a new superintendent coming in, I was very comforted knowing I had such a seasoned and well-qualified CBO, and someone else recognized that. So this is Lisa Cavan's last meeting with us as she moves on to Santa Rosa City Schools. And from me and the staff, we wish her nothing but the best of luck. So thank you, Lisa, for your service.
the flowers are beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all, Christy.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
I think Leslie wanted to share some thoughts as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I also want to echo that I'm incredibly grateful to Lisa for her commitment to the district and for creating a positive shift in the business office. She's always been honest in her assessments of where we are in our financial commitments, and she's made school district budgets easier to understand for the board and the public. You're a true professional, Lisa, and a committed and dedicated part, have been a committed and dedicated part of PUSD leadership. I will miss you for that, but also, and I think more importantly, I'll miss your optimism, your warmth, and your laugh, which has been a real joy to have at our meetings. And I wish you the best in your new endeavors as well. And if you ever go to Trona, I want you to invite me along this time. And then I also want to talk about Tracy, but maybe other folks want to say something about Lisa before we move on to Tracy. Well, we got her on the spot. Got her Kleenex.
Yeah. It
You
is
want
true.
to-
I would like to just, it has been such an honor and an amazing experience that I cannot, there aren't words to describe how much this has meant to me the last 7 years. And I'm not leaving Plumas because I want to leave Plumas. So you guys have become my family. And just thank you so much for your support, your leadership. And, we've been through a lot of good and a lot of difficult times, and you guys have kept us steady. And you have given me the opportunity of a lifetime. And so thank you so much. Thank you. Right. I cry at everything. Everybody knows that. Thank you.
You guys can jump in later if you want, but I want to say some things about Tracy as well. Serving on the board can sometimes be really isolating because of the Brown Act, and you can't really reach out to your fellow board members to discuss things unless you're at a meeting. If there's an issue, you reach out to staff or one other board member. And Tracy has been my primary go-to. She's had my back from the first day she was sworn in. And I will never forget that meeting, Tracy. She's been my confidant, my sounding board, and my friend. When she and Dwight started in 2014, they changed the direction of this district in an upward and positive way. Her mantra, cream rises to the top, has become the board's mantra and has guided us through some challenging meetings and some challenging times. She led this district as board president during arguably the most challenging time in public education during the pandemic and all the associated challenges that came with it. Tracy is smart, she is kind, she is thorough, and she is engaged. She understands the board and the board role at a very deep level. And she's been an incredibly active and involved board member throughout her terms, both of them. Her commitment is deep and her heart stands with the kids of PUSD. So Tracy, enjoy your retirement. I will truly miss you, but I know that we have plans for the near future. So I know I will see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No, I have tears.
I'm glad it's not just me.
Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate that. I just have a few things I would like to say. I've never done this in public comment before, so it's kind of weird to as board members to do this, but I do want to just say to everyone, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve for the past 8 years. We all serve a purpose, and I hope I did some good while I was here. I'm grateful to have had the honor of serving with my fellow board members. Your dedication for doing what is best for students, your honesty and your commitment is what makes our district unique. I started on this journey in January of 2012 during an informational meeting at Chester L that I will never forget. Lisa, she's right next to me and she's gonna appreciate this. And I was given a one-page budget and we were tasked with analyzing whether we should close Greenville High School and consolidate Chester Elementary on the Chester High School campus. Side note, if you've ever looked at our budget, it's more than 100 pages. So when I got a one-page budget, this board knows me, Lisa knows me, I love numbers. Something was not right, so I got involved. I'm not going to spend a lot of time rehashing the past because I'm a don't look back, you're not going that way type of person. However, I think it's really important, as Leslie mentioned, for us to look at where we were in 2012 and where we are 10 years later. Yes, we've had plenty of bumps along the way, but that's life. And I am incredibly proud of where we are today. We've also had some memorable moments. One in particular is the passage of Measure B. 1,000 pictures later, countless site visits with my partner in crime, Leslie. Our communities created a plan, we executed it, and our facilities have received much needed repairs and updating. This could not have happened without the support of Plumas County voters, so thank you again. I do not think people really understand the role, the importance, and the dedication of being a board member. We carry an incredible burden of being good stewards of the money, or Lisa will tell us if we're not, creating policy and also creating pathways for students to be successful. Our passion lies with what's doing right for students. Board service, especially education, is a tough job. I'm really, really proud of the work that we have done over the past 8 years. And so it wouldn't be me unless I gave you some fun facts and had a little fun at the end. And since my first meeting, which was December 10th of 2014, there have been yes, I counted 187 board meetings. I've lost count of the ad hoc, the budgets. Oh, and let's not forget Measure B meetings, right, Lisa? If I had to estimate how many meetings we have attended over the last 8 years, I'd say it's over 400 plus meetings. Not to mention the thousands of emails and text messages and calls that we get from concerned parents, students, and community members. So in closing, to my fellow board members, administration, students, parents, teachers, and staff, thank you. I look forward to seeing you work together, to collectively inspire every child in every classroom every day. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. We did it. Okay, is that it for public comment? All right, thank you very much, everyone. Whew. Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for, number 9. Chelsea, they see her, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I can.
We are at that moment where, you got that there? Thank you. There you are, Chelsea.
I know. Zoom in a little bit more.
When you speak, it will.
We are at the point of, since nobody opted to run at the time for the District 3 seat, which is the seat that I currently occupy. We put a public notice, and we have received an application from Chelsea Harrison, who is with us today. She is a graduate of Chester High School. Go Vols. 95, good job. And she also lives and works in District 3, the Chester Lake Almanor Basin. So at this time, what we're going to do is we're going to put you on the hot spot. I know you can handle it. You want to change seats? You're good. I know you can handle it. And we've got a series of questions.
Okay.
Does each board member have their questions in front of them?
I just emailed them to Jody, Dave, and Jolene, not knowing.
Okay.
So if you don't have it,
Okay. So we have a series of questions that we're going to be asking you this afternoon. And then what we are going to do after we get through the interview process is we are going to take a 10-minute recess. The board is going to convene, discuss the interview. And then at that point, we will come back, we'll reconvene, and we will engage in discussion. And the action is to make a provisional appointment. So we'll start with that. So do you want to give a little bit while everyone else is getting theirs? We're going to start. I'll start with number 1, and we'll just kind of go around.
Like it.
Robin, but would you like to tell us a little bit about you?
So as mentioned earlier, I was born in Oroville, but came here when I was about 6 months old, and have been in Chester through my elementary school and high school years. And after school, I did end up in Reno for most of my adult life, and then had a short stint, about 10 years up in Oregon, where I found Chamber of Commerce, or Chamber of Commerce found me, and I thoroughly enjoyed being up there and ran a board of 11. So it will be unique to have the opportunity to be on a board than being a director of a board. And most of you could possibly know, so I also am a McIntyre. So Mr. Mac is my dad. And that is actually the reason that we had the opportunity to come home, is things have been progressing for him. And so we came back to assist with being the family, helping with family support. And so, which was wonderful, because I'm not sure I would have taken an opportunity to come back So my husband and I have a landscape company, and so we do landscaping. And then to help supplement, as we all know, in Plymouth County, I'm also a insurance agent over at Roland Insurance. And my husband is a real estate agent at Goldbaker. And I have 3 children. My oldest graduated from Chester High, and my youngest is a junior here at Chester High. And I think that's about it for the the basics. I can go on, but
Mr. Mack taught mostly what grades?
so when I first started, he was in 4th grade when we first moved here, and then went down to 3rd when I went up to 4th, so he didn't have to teach his daughter, but then did end up teaching my sister. And because she was in a 3rd, 4th split, and so so he did teach her. And then he went, I believe, actually right after that, after Stephanie left 6th grade, he moved to 6th grade, and that's why it was exciting to hear the science project, because I know Rob Wade name very well, since my dad was a very large part of working on that program with Rob Wade. So it is very exciting to hear and see associated with Fred, which is not what we called it in school. It was outdoor ed, but everybody dreaded because it was always cold and or extremely hot. You never had anything nice in between. So yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yay.
Oh, he was my principal though, my senior year. He was the interim principal for my senior year, and I think 2 years after that.
All right. Thank you for that. And board ready? We can start. I'll start with question number 1. This is an unprecedented time in public education, and the commitment and time required to serve have never been greater. Why did you choose this time to seek appointment to the board? And are there any particular issues that motivated you to serve?
I think growing up here definitely was not as engaged as a youth, and growing, and then being up in Oregon and associated with chamber, I found that getting engaged in multiple facets than where in that world was mainly tourism driven, that I also got involved in the school environment, the Forest Service BLM. I mean, it just goes on and on, that having an opportunity to be able to do that at home and to be a part of what is currently happening associated with Plymouth County is definitely is very close to my heart. And I must say, I have been more focused. It has been on my dad, so I do apologize that there, but I really feel it takes more engagement. And when I had heard that there was no other interest, that was a huge concern for me. And I am a doer. And so I knew I would be able to make the time to step up. And I'm already at the school a lot with my son, and am very engaged in that department. And so it is, for me, I felt just, it really fell in line with already the path I'm taking with being in the part of the community. Okay, I can try and make shorter answers. I'm so sorry, they do tend to drag on.
Thank you very much. Okay, Leslie, do you want to go?
Experiences, skills, or attributes do you possess that have prepared you to serve as a board member?
And I do apologize. I'm going to have to ask for that to be repeated because it was a little broken up.
Sure. What particular experiences, skills, or attributes do you possess that have prepared you to serve as a board member?
Honestly, pretty much my entire life has been service. I grew up serving the lions at the Wildwood Center when I was a kid. All the way to, obviously, when the kids are little, you tend to get involved in the t-ball and the football and that environment. But ultimately, what I feel has really taken me to the next level was my engagement with the chamber. The little area that we were in over in Eastern Oregon was a population of about Quincy. And I had evolved into a Eastern Oregon position to or organizational group. It wasn't a specific business, but the Eastern Oregon Visitor Association, all the way to, I had been asked to join the Travel Oregon Association. And ended up, timing didn't work out because I was on the east side compared to all the way in Portland. So so my 10 years associated with Chamber, I really feel has put me on the path to also bring that experience here. I understand that that was tourism based, but it doesn't matter. It's about growing a community, and the time and the energy that it takes is what I'm ready to put in.
Okay, thank you very much. Dave, do you want to do number 3?
Absolutely. As a board member, you will be making decisions for students across the county. What is your vision for education across the school district?
My big word that pops in my head is collaboration. I definitely come from an environment where collaboration is the key. It's not, it's about hearing everybody, and then everybody coming to the round table, not a square table, which I know is very hard to find anymore, but a round table to have a discussion. And so that way there is nobody leading another, and making sure that we are all heard. Listening, I think, is the biggest key. Listening.
Thank you.
So I do appreciate having opportunities like this. Sorry, not to add to it, is having digital opportunities. Because for someone not to be able to come from Chester to be able to have a comment, that is, I feel, super important to have these kind of opportunities, and we're utilizing them.
Thank you. Jody?
Sure. Chelsea, I'm a former Oregonian. I've spent a lot of time probably near neck of the woods. So we're
fantastic.
What do you see as major issues facing our school district and public education as a whole?
That one I'm going to need a little.
You want me to repeat it?
No. I just, unfortunately, this one isn't, I feel, just one of those easy answers. I don't feel there's going to be a specific, a specific hurdle. I don't feel there is a specific answer to fixing a hurdle. And so I think, as it has probably been said for years, even back, what was mentioned earlier, and I'm trying to remember specifically, but just how times have changed over from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, the 10s, and now the 20s. There is a hurdle every single generation. And to be able to be prepared to have the conversation no matter what the hurdle is. So I don't feel saying that there's a specific hurdle coming up, because I think COVID is very obvious that we have no way to know what those plans are going to be, and we don't know what those hurdles are going to be. And all we can do is keep our eyes open to see what is coming up next. And so for a specific, I don't have one right now for you.
No worries. Thank you.
Jolene?
Okay. What issues do you believe this district need to address in its academic program and offerings, and what changes would you recommend?
For me, and what I'm seeing for my children, because I have been in this district as a young person, and then to see what opportunities / lack thereof are available is very concerning, to try and allow our children to have as much of a well-rounded education as possible. But is there a specific solution? I mean, there's that hurdle where I don't know what that solution is, except for constantly trying to think, provide ways to solve that solution. I just helped my son put on a haunted house in the auto shop that is the weight room now / was the fish room. And so so that those opportunities aren't available for children and right at this moment. And that is going back to that previous question. I think now talking that out a little bit, I really am wanting to see more opportunities for well, and then I will veer off to something else, but I won't here in a second. So, but ultimately I want to see that opportunity for more well-roundedness of electives for the children, even if they are not specifically in the curriculum, and that we can somehow come up with a way to provide those opportunities for our children, that there is more available to them as well. And that coming back around to, I had a very interesting conversation with the history teacher here and was very impressed, because that's not how I remember my history teacher. And so I think it's the quality of educators and seeing and visiting with our educators here. I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased on how creative they have been. Okay, thank you. All right. One more. Okay, yeah.
Please describe any experience you have had in working with school or other public agency budgets.
Oh, so school budgets, no, I don't have any specific experience with specifically school budgets, except on the chamber side. I did work with schools, so we ended up doing some fundraising, so that way it was on the entrepreneurship side. And so on the chamber side, budget was 300,000. On the Eastern Oregon Visitors Association side was 4 million. And then on the Travel Oregon is 1.3 billion. I know, it's not crazy. Sorry. And then way back in the day, construction worked on a $36 million water line project. And wasn't the specific accountant, but had to do all the day-to-day tracking, bookkeeping of nuts, bolts, pipes.
Okay. Leslie?
Extra page in here, sorry, okay. Please provide us with your understanding of the role and functions of the board and its relationship to the superintendent and the administrative team.
For specifics, I have not looked at the org chart to see specifically, but with that said, as I feel any board should be, is first and foremost the listener. And because we are the advocates not only for parents, but also the children, and then really making sure that there is information relayed from point A to point B. And then as for policy, making sure again that everyone is heard, so that way then a corrective action is taken, or I get the word policy. In my world, it was action items, and things are done and not just said. And I feel that is a major part of a board's job, is to make sure things are done and not just talked about. as in relation to the superintendent, I see, and again, I do apologize that I don't know the org chart, but I do see it kind of the same, to where the superintendent's job is to implement what we then talk about and really put in place. Oh, and for the superintendent to then share back to the board on what's working and not working, so we can make corrective actions.
Okay. All right, Dave.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us regarding your qualifications or experiences? And to wrap things up, do you have any questions for us?
I think first, one of the thoughts that came up is engagement. One of my biggest words is engagement. That is what I feel one of my action words are, not only as a listener, but also an engager. And that I'm a passionate parent. I do, that's, I'm very involved in what's going on with my children, and well, the ones that want to call you back after they leave home. And I am very pleased, though, also to come home and see how much is still going on, even with coming from when I was in school, there was almost 400 kids here, down to 126-ish. So to see how much activity is still actually happening, there is a lot of warm feelings associated with that, even though I know I had shared that there were hurdles that I feel within the school. So I know that's a contradiction there, but I am still very pleased on how things are progressing. And so as for questions, I guess one of my biggest questions, I'm seeing and hearing that there are two major parts of this team that are on their way out. And so how is it, as a board, you are and the potential partner to be part of that team, how is everyone seeing those next steps happening? How positive is the board that that the path has been laid for a new person like me coming in to wants to help be part of the change and the pathway?
Okay, yeah, just tickle my throat.
And please don't all answer at once.
Any board members want to chime in on that?
I mean, I can just say from my experience, when I came on the board, we had, there was one other board member who was assigned to me as a mentor. And that person, stepped up and helped me out with, when we had some real challenging situations. So, I think that's available to our new board members. And, as well as the administrative staff always being super helpful to answer any questions. Christy, Patty, Bill, anyone that you go and talk to, we'll drop everything and help you out. I dragged Christy off the homecoming parade the other day and had her answer some questions for me. So, I feel like it's a super supportive team. I feel like we have a great board, and any one of us would be willing to help out.
I think I could. I think I could add to the second part in regards to Lisa leaving. We are currently engaged in a statewide and nationwide search for her replacement through Leadership Associates, and we are looking for the most qualified person, as well as the person that will be the right fit for our communities and our team. Preferably someone with experience working in rural areas, as it's different. And so we're looking for the right person, and that's why the process is ongoing, and probably will not be resolved until well after the first of the year. We have a plan in place for the team to support in Ms. Cavan's absence.
I was asking if Lisa was still going to be part of the process during this next then transition.
So yes, I will
Yeah.
continue to support the county and the district. Right now, probably 1 day a week, we have a great team in place. Our business office has, when we restructured a few years ago, we created a dispersed leadership. And so we have 3 individuals who have major areas of responsibility that have really been my right-hand person in each of those areas that will take on leadership. And then we have, of course, our leadership team as well with Bill and
Gotcha.
Christy.
No, fantastic.
So,
Oh, good to hear.
yeah, we have a plan.
Yeah. I was very pleased to hear about the 1-200 page line item budget. So that's my world too. So. Any other questions
I would
from?
just, being the newest board member, echo what Leslie said, it's real. And, you know, I came on in the middle of COVID, it felt like when there was hardly anything really happening. And sometimes I still feel like I'm not educated enough to speak on a subject, but instantly the moment I ask for information, I get more than one ever could hope for. And I did inherit Dwight's box, which I haven't dug into too many times, but there's a lot of stuff out there. So I always feel like within a few minutes, can get the information I need. And I'm not above texting Tracy and saying, I know you're not in this role anymore, but I won't do that.
Well, I think unfortunately there would be an unfair advantage for me. So, because I could just walk down over
You
to
know where
her
to find
house.
me. Okay. All right. Any other, that's it for questions for you? Anything else from the board before we take a 10-minute recess? Okay, hearing none, we are going to take a 10-minute recess. Give me a few minutes because I'm going to step into a different room and use your computer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just give me a few minutes. There's your keys. Thank you very much. No, I did. Okay, do we have everybody back in the main room? We have all trustees back?
Looks like you're good to go.
Okay, thank you so much, Christy. Okay, we have reconvened from our short recess. At this time, I'll take any comments from board members regarding the interview that we had of Chelsea Harrison.
I enjoyed your interview a great deal and appreciated the things that you had to say and that you didn't just jump to, one single answer, that you really were thoughtful in your responses. So thank you.
Thank you.
What impresses me and why I feel comfortable with you being a board member, a candidate for a board member. I thought your responses were delivered in a poised manner, and also the interview process seemed like a conversation as opposed to an interview per se, and that's not easy. It takes someone who's experienced and someone who knows who they are and who feels comfortable in public service. So I'm grateful that you've applied for the soon-to-be vacant position.
Thank you. That's nice.
Chelsea, I really appreciated your honesty, both in verbalizing what the challenges are, but also in verbalizing how much you appreciate the schools and the passion and the teachers. And I really value the level of engagement that you have with the schools. And I think that's critically important. And I appreciated that about you and your interview.
I wanted to also thank you for volunteering. I think you'll find that this can be super rewarding, but it's also very challenging. And I love that you're committed to your community. I think I think our schools are the heartbeat of our communities, and that's why I do this. And I'm just really excited to think about serving with somebody who actually attended schools here. Like that's really kind of a cool angle. And I think you're going to bring a lot to the table just through your experience as a student and as a parent. So thank you very much for volunteering.
Oh, I heard the pay is really high. That my per hour is great. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes, you're cracking me up, Chelsea. Okay. I too think that you will do a fabulous job. I've known you for a while now. I know your dedication to our community. I've served on boards with you. What you've done for the schools and your passion for making sure these kids have activities to do, whether it's prom or it's the Halloween thing that you did, the Fright House, whatever it was called. Yeah. All that. You're the mom on the sidelines at football games. And I mean, it's going to be great. You're going to do great. I have no doubt in my mind, and I'm very comfortable with you in this position. So, and that means a lot. Good job. All right. So I'm going to read some stuff here because I can't remember all this. So in accordance with Education Code 5091, the board will consider a provisional appointment to represent trustee area 3, which is Chester Lake Elminor, until the next regularly scheduled general election, which is November of 2026.
Oh.
Sounds good. So I just had to throw that out there.
I appreciate you sharing the year.
It seems forever away, but it goes by really
No,
fast. So
Yes.
we'll do fabulous. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up for the board for a motion.
I'll move to provisionally appoint Chelsea Harrison to the board to represent trustee area 3.
Thank you, Jolene.
Second.
But
I'll second.
Thank you, Jody. And all those in favor? Aye.
do we need a roll call on that?
I think it's unanimous.
I don't
I
know if
heard
I need a
five.
roll call. I think, no, not on this.
I don't think so.
We're good, Dave. We don't believe we need a roll call on this one. So we have it and unanimous. Welcome. You will be sworn in at the December meeting, and I am sure Patty and Mr. Roderick will also reach out to you with all the details, and we will be in touch.
All right, sounds
Okay.
great.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
for your willingness to serve.
Actually, Chelsea, check your email. Patty's sending you an email tonight. We're gonna need an answer from you first thing tomorrow.
Great. Okay. All right. Moving on to student achievement. Christy, are you taking this one?
Yes, that's me. Let me share my screen here. I've got some slides to share with you an update on 3 topics this evening, and I do believe you have this attached to our board agenda as a PDF if you'd like to follow along with that as well. Tonight, we're going to be talking about 3 items, all related to our high fives, which are those 5 metrics that we are really focused on as a district on improving to become the highest achieving district in our region. Number 1 is our state test results. Those have just come out publicly. Number 2 is our iReady diagnostic and benchmark data for math and English, as well as an update on the math placement policy, which is supposed to happen every year per our policy. So we'll start with our CASP, which is our statewide testing scores. And you may have seen information on this both nationally, statewide, and in our local media as well. These are from our state tests from last spring, done for 3rd through 8th grade and 11th in math and English language arts. So you have here 2 years worth of data. You can see our district-wide average and a site-wide average here. I'm sorry, not average, percent proficient, which means you have met or exceeded the statewide standard. There's been a lot of talk in the media about this recently, and COVID learning loss and how scores are down statewide and nationwide. And yes, that is true for us as well. We've been through a lot these past 4 years, and we've had learning loss, opportunities for learning with COVID haven't been there. I think our staff and district has done a phenomenal job with a very challenging situation. So a few things I want to point out with these data points, which may not be evident just by these numbers alone. There's always a story, and that's what I love about data, is it really is just a starting point for a story and a deeper conversation. One thing to note here, the difference between these 2 years is in 2021, which is still in COVID times. So 2 years ago, testing was optional for our elementary students. We used an alternate assessment. We called it star reading at the time. And so our 2021 scores are only our 7th, 8th, and 11th grade students, which really affects the overall average. So it's hard to compare apples to apples. And that's why you see that NA there for our elementary students. So in 2021, we had 349 students test. And then last year that jumped up to 812 with our elementary. We typically see higher scores with our elementary students. And so it does affect kind of the overall district-wide percent proficient with that. I also think it's interesting to compare pre-COVID and really for us pre-Dixie to what we were at last spring and what that does across the state as well. So statewide is down and Plymouth Unified is down since 2019, which is really the last year we have to compare the most comparable form of assessment to. So 4 years ago. So the state dropped just over 4% in that same time period in English language arts, and Plumas Unified was very similar to that with a 4.14% drop. So what we're seeing here in Plumas is a statewide trend as well. I am pleased to share that in math, while our scores went down, we did not go down as much as the state average. From state went down 6% and we went down to 3%. So I know it's still a drop, which we're certainly working hard to remedy now, and lots of interventions and support in all of our schools right now. Thank you, board, for approving all of those and the great work all of our teachers and staff are doing. We have a lot to do this year to get our students caught up, but we're certainly on the right track with many systems and supports we have in place. So before I go on to iReady data, I'll just pause there if there's any comments or questions or concerns about our state testing data.
Sure if it comes here or comes later when we talk about math placement. But we had previously postponed the board policy on graduation requirements. And so for me, you know, when you look at 11th grade math scores, that third year math, if you don't have a third year math, then, and I know we do now have the math pathway, but I think that's a big factor in where we go with our math scores. And so that's just something that hopefully we can revisit that policy at some point.
Definitely, let's bring that back, if not next month in January, as we've already started talking about staffing for 23-24. All right, let's go ahead and just share a little bit about iReady. So we are in our year 2 implementation of iReady, which is our diagnostic and personalized learning system. All students K through 8th grade take this assessment, elementary 4 times per year, high school 3 times per year. It gives us a great benchmark of where students are at and creates a personalized learning path for each student, focusing on perhaps basic skills that have just been missed, and it's different for every child. So that's nice for our teachers to have and utilize that. So looking at these 2 triangles, you've seen these before, kind of the red, yellow, and green. This is kind of how we look at things through a multi-tiered system of support. You can see last spring and then where students are at this fall. So that's just really shows that we have overall a higher number of students this fall with what we call tier 3 needs. And so those would be 2 or more years below grade level that need some sort of intervention. Some of this we can attribute to a summer slide, which we would typically see over the summer, but it really gives us our starting place to show growth. And so we're right now in our 2nd diagnostic. So our students and teachers are working on this, many students today, and we'll finish next Friday. So in December, I can share with you the results of those, and we do expect to see growth. What we do see in our data is when students are with us and in school, they do an incredible job of learning and growing when they're here with us. And so we fully expect to see growth with this. So our goal is to get students caught up. On a typical year, it'd be 1 year's growth in 1 year's time. Some students need 2 years growth in 2 years' time in order to make those gains. So we're certainly working on that every day in our district. Stop there. Any questions or comments on iReady data? I was reading, and here's math. This one is just our plan. As I said, we're right now November and benchmark 2 for iReady.
So the second slide is K8 or TK8. And then the first one, it looks like the number of students assessed is K12.
It looks like, so this fall, we did have more of our high schoolers take the assessment. So this is 1178. And that probably is we had more 9th and 10th grade teachers use it for math than for language arts. So many of our students that need some math skills to fill in, I would say that would be the difference there. It is optional for 9th and above. And for the year. And your last piece of information tonight is our math placement policy. So we do have this board policy that really helps us focus students from their 8th grade year into their 9th grade year. That math class is very important on college and career readiness pathway in 8th grade and into 9th grade. So we really look at 2 data points, one of them being grades and one of them being statewide test scores. Now we also use iReady as part of that as well. And based on how students do in 8th grade, it's where they get placed in 9th grade math. And so you can see this rubric here. In 9th grade math, there's a choice of integrated 1, or 1A. So you can see around our district, you can see where 8th graders currently are. Their 2 choices are what we call 8th grade math and then integrated 1. Integrated 1 being a more accelerated pathway, which would lead to eventual calculus in your senior year. And in 9th grade, you can see where we're at across the district. These are numbers of students. So for example, Chester High School 9th graders, we have 11 students in integrated 1, which we would consider kind of the grade level pathway, and integrated 1A for students who need additional support. And then we do have a couple sites with integrated 2 for 9th graders. That is that more advanced math pathway. Pause there and see if there's any questions about math placement. Okay. So your 3 student achievement topics for tonight. Thank you. As always, let me know if you have any questions or concerns.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, moving on to the facilities. Lisa.
Thank you. This is the last time you'll have to hear from me about Measure B. Casey will be here to help you walk you through this next month. I did send out an updated Measure B list, which I will go ahead and see if I can get to where I can share a screen. Just a moment here. Do this. Okay. The only change is that we did have a in bold for Chester L. There was it had to do with the snow removal because of our early snow hitting, of course, when we're in the middle of our Chester L modernization. So that was the only change to the Measure B list. Are there any questions on the recommended approvals for the Measure B project list?
Any questions from board members for Lisa?
I did also, all right, go ahead.
Sorry.
That looks good to me.
I did also attach the summary page showing that we have about just under 200,000 left in our unallocated, and then we have our Fund 35 contingency, which is the remaining reimbursement for QES that we already have on hand. We do expect the other reimbursement for QES in about a year. And then after the Chester L project is completed, we would expect additional, and that the reason that it's higher, again, just as a reminder, is because of all the ADA work that had to be done here. They do give an extra allowance when you have to make that many upgrades. So that is where we stand with Measure B and reimbursements at this time. And Bill, did you have anything that you wanted to add with Measure B updates?
I'm still trying to get a drop dead date for RAMAC to be pulled out of QHS completion. It's been slower going through the fall because on campus. Other than that, CES is rolling through the snow, but we have still not had any delays. So compliments to Kevin Nolan and his organization for keeping that project moving forward.
And one thing that did come up is that while we earlier in the spring, costs had been projecting upwards and we were looking at removing several things from the project, it looks like we may depending on how things go over the next month or two, we may have some room in the budget to do a partial replacement on the roof. So we may be able to add some of those things back in.
Well, it looks great. Having just toured it, it's coming along and I can't wait to see when it's all ready. So it looks really good. So thank you for the update. Okay, so you are seeking approval for the Measure B project request to include the additional snow removal at CES.
That is correct.
Thanks, Jody. That Leslie? I couldn't hear.
Was that a second from Leslie? We couldn't hear.
Second from Leslie, yeah.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Next item.
Okay. Back over here, find the item on my list again. Okay, facilities, non-Measure B facilities list. No changes to that list. We are requesting approval unless there are any questions on our list.
Thank you, Leslie.
Second.
You, Dave. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you,
Tracy,
Lisa.
Tracy, we missed a discussion regarding softball field at Chester. You see that? As part of facilities A.
Hey.
Yeah, under the Measure B project update, it says discussion and direction will also be sought regarding the softball field at Chester Junior Senior.
Oh, I'm sorry. I looked right over that. My apologies.
Sorry about that. Bill, did you have something you wanted to share on that?
I want to share, we've identified a potential Title IX issue at Chester Junior Senior High School with basically different facilities opportunities for boys and girls sports. And so what we've done is we have a place for the softball team to play at the Chester Community Park for this year. But we've identified a space behind the scoreboard at Chester High School at the football stadium. And we've walked it with the couple of companies. And they both confirmed that we have room to lay a softball field out behind that, make an outstanding little softball complex in that area. That's it's just kind of a catch-all eyesore out there. So we are obtaining bids and maybe looking for some community support to put a softball field out there so that those young ladies have the same opportunity to play on campus. And looking for direction from the board just for us to explore that, gain some bids and bring a number back to you in the spring. The plan is to play there in spring of 2024, that we would start the project spring, finish it in the summer, let the grass grow in and be ready to go about 14-15 months from now.
I'd support that direction.
Would I?
Yeah, I don't see any harm in gathering the bid process.
Yep, so we're gonna get some numbers and come back to the board. We've got some initial good community support, so some of the local contractors are going to give us maybe a little bit of a price break to support this project. So we're excited for that. So thank you. You'll hear more the next month. Carry on.
Thank you, Bill. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I think we're on the outdoor
You down here. My screen won't move fast enough. Okay. Outdoor education program funding. That is you, Lisa.
It is, and so at this time, we are requesting that the board, and I'm sorry, the formatting is weird. I could not get the bold to go away no matter what I did this time. You know, outdoor education is PUSD's signature program, and it's something that you know, we have shared at conferences throughout the state and are hoping to do some more with that and really look at ways that we can grow our program and serve students not only in Plumas County. My screen there just died. At any rate, we are requesting that the board support about $50,000 annually would be the cost, and that would be to reduce the ask to our parents, students, and school sites, communities. You know, in our discussions, there's been a huge impact with COVID to inflation, and we would just request that we be able to set a flat amount per student. And then above that would be covered by the district. We estimate that would be about $50,000 annually.
Lisa, is this just for the 8th grade part of this program? It's the P2P.
For the 6th grade, the P2P, the P2P, yes. And
We will
during
have
COVID,
one,
sorry, go ahead, Bill.
we will have 1 year because we had this year's 8th grade group that missed out due to COVID. So this year we'll have a little bit bigger contribution. And then it will be 6th grade after that. And we actually, this does P2P and discovers P2P and the FRED program.
The FRED program is, thank you for the reminder on that. That is the on the county side. And so as the county superintendent, Bill has graciously, you know, set kind of the same standard with a $25 cost per student for FRED, and then a $50 cost per student with PUSD for P2P is what we are requesting from the board. So we really want to really hone in on the outdoor opportunities that are available here.
We'll take away the rite of passage for parents for 12 fundraisers each.
Oh, I remember. I remember.
They'll still have a little bit that they'll, you know, we want to bring that camaraderie together.
I support it. I think it's a long time coming.
Same.
Okay, so the first and a second.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Jody. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there you go.
And the next item would be so we did this the last 2 years, which allowed our 6th grade students to carry their funds that were raised for that P2P over to their high school experience, over to ASB there for their class funds. And we are requesting the same thing again this year. It does include the resolution does talk about the senior class. The senior classes, those were actually resolved. This really would apply for the 6th graders who have gone to on to 7th and 8th grade at the junior senior high schools. We would ask that the board go ahead and make the allowance one more time for them to transfer their funds so that they don't lose out on those hard earned fundraising monies.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Jolene.
This is all, quick question. This is all ASB, correct?
Yes. Yeah, so any funds that they raised at the school, so would not have to do with anything that was raised through Parents Club. That's separate from what we would have jurisdiction over.
Second.
Thank you, Dave. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next
The
one.
next items, we do have a resolution each for Plumas County Office of Ed and Plumas Unified School District. And this is to designate signatories for FEMA and Cal OES funds. So this is necessary for us to receive our Dixie Fire reimbursements. We do have some money coming to offset some costs and expenditures that we've had in the last year. And rather than designating specific people, we are requesting that the board designate positions, in which case then these resolutions are good for 3 years. So if there are additional emergencies, and for each would be designating the superintendent and the chief business official, or the role, whoever's in that role officially.
I'm trying to pull these up.
And so the resolution number for PCOE is 2223-06.
I'll move to approve PCOE resolution 223-06. That's submitted.
Doreen?
Second.
Thank you, Dave. All those in favor, Edlund,
Aye.
Klein,
Aye.
Miller, Reed,
Didn't hear. Aye.
thank you. All right, let me get to that one for you.
Okay. And then it would be the same thing for PUSD resolution number 1620.
Move to approve PUSD resolution 1620.
Second.
Thank you, Dave. All those in favor, Klein,
Aye.
Edlund,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Thank you.
Okay, this one.
Mhm.
You need me to open it up?
No, that's okay. All right, the next item is our PUSD and PCS, so Plumas Charter School Comprehensive MOU. There's not really much much in the way of changes other than updating dates and some costs to reflect our increased costs of operation. And also the return to our CEP food service program. So rather, now that that has changed, we're no longer under the COVID reimbursements. We do actually expect the contribution for food costs, hopefully to be less for both PUSD and PCS based on the increased rates from the state. However, we did leave those amounts in there as far as the percentages for estimates, because really it is just an estimate right now until we find out how that ends up working at the end of the year for our actual reimbursement. That also does cover PCS's contribution or fee for service for us, for the staff that we maintain related to food service. Okay. Yeah, and this is just an annual renewal. If you do recall, their petition is legally extended for 2 years, so it'll look a little funny next year when we'll say it's the 6th year in a 5-year agreement or 5-year petition. So that'll look a little funny, but we are requesting and recommending approval at this time.
I do have a question. So the attachment is a draft MOU.
Yes, that is correct. And just if there were any questions or changes, so it's in draft form until approved by PUSD and PCS by the boards.
Lisa, who will, or Bill, maybe that's a question for Bill, who will be taking over your duties in regards to attending board meetings and the oversight portion?
Chris Vitalik will be taking that on as my designee with attending the board meetings. He did attend with me on Monday, their board meeting. And so we kind of walked through, as we went through the, kind of the role and how that works and the information that we bring back and share with our superintendent and board. He'll be the contact, because that is one of the requirements with the charter is that we have a main contact identified. That will be Chris until my replacement comes on. The fiscal oversight will be a combination of Casey, Chris, and Mallory looking at different pieces of it. We had a workshop with the four of us and Cassie, which is Charter Authorizer Support Initiative, with Debbie Deal, who used to work for FICMAT, specifically doing charter reviews. And so she did walk us through training and provided question answer where we did a specific review of their unaudited actuals, which I think was really helpful for our team. So we have a lot of tools. I again will still be available for support as well, but I feel confident in our team's abilities.
We are seeking approval for the MOU this evening.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Jolene.
Second.
Thank you, Jody. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Go.
Thank you. And then one more for me, and I think I'm done after that, which is we are recommending a change in our per diem and the way that we calculate that. In our policy, it just states that the board will approve what that rate is and that we will implement what that looks like. We are asking for it to be based off of the General Services Administration guidelines for travel reimbursement. So basically you have your standard rates and your high rates depending on where travel is occurring. So if somebody were to attend a conference in Los Angeles, but for some reason they're staying in Riverside, it would be based off of the Los Angeles rate because that's where the conference is occurring, or if they travel through somewhere in that nature. What that would do is it would alleviate the need to revisit the costs based on inflation, because those will change according to that GSA. It does increase costs substantially, but right now our staff are eating that additional cost. So that is a recommendation that we're bringing forward, and for it to be effective January 1st, that gives us time to revise our processes and forms, as well as it would coincide with any change in the IRS travel for mileage reimbursements.
This is very typical to follow the GSA guidelines. And then, like you said, you don't have to change your policy each and every year. And this also keeps it so that there's no IRS income
Right, the
consequences if people are being paid more than what the standard rates are. So
yes.
all right, so you are looking for us to just approve the alignment? Is that what you're, okay.
Yep, that is it, because that sets the new rate.
Okay.
And it does not change anything with policy, although that was attached just for
I saw that.
review. And in fact, if we also review the policy at the same time, then we can update the date on there.
So you know the fiscal impact just would be for like next year? I know it'll change each year, but.
So for the daily reimbursement or the total reimbursement, when we looked, I did attach a comparison. If you open that, if say for a 3-day trip, the way that our policy currently reads, the reimbursement to an employee would be about $92. The standard rate, I believe, was about 150, so 147. And then at the highest, which there are some in between the standard and the highest, it would be 197.50. So it does increase substantially. But again, our staff are currently eating that. So that's one thing that we need to be aware of when we are authorizing travel. This will be included. They'll have to when they're doing their vendor requisition for their travel or their professional development request, this information will be in there so that we can see what that true cost will be before it's approved. I would say the majority of our travel for staff comes out of restricted funding when you're looking at Title II, things of that nature. A lot of our grants have a lot of the travel tied into those. One thing where you will see it would be an impact on the P2P. That will be affected, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so do you need us to approve the policy or
No.
just by doing, approving the alignment with GSA?
We reviewed
effectively
it this
does that?
evening.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Move to approve the alignment with the GSA guidance.
Second.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Dave. All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. The minutes from the special meeting, I believe there was. I'm trying to look and see here. I think, yeah, so on special, it's Leslie, Dave, and myself were attendees on the special meeting on the 14th. Any questions on those meeting minutes?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Leslie. Dave, all those in favor? Aye. And abstentions from Jody and Jolene. I think Patty got that. Minutes from the October 12th meeting, and I believe we all were there. Yep, any questions on the meeting minutes from October 12th?
Comments on the wording. Public comment portion. There's one typo that should be sports, not shorts. And then there's another section where, again, here.
See that?
So under the Suzanne Sterling portion, I believe, I'm sorry, navigating back and forth through my notes.
Oh, I see that. Yes.
They shared concerns about comments regarding test scores.
Mhm.
Be a better way to say that, but I can work, with the Patty, whatever. That's everybody else's recollection.
I recall her saying something about that she was responding to comments that were made about the test scores, if my memory is correct.
I think so.
I could look, I didn't have my notes in my book with me, but I usually write all that stuff down.
That was correct.
Yeah, okay. And were those your two comments or two corrections? Okay. Is Patty still there? I think she is, so she got that. Patty, can you confirm that you got that?
Yes, I got that. I'll revisit.
Thank you so much. Okay. So Leslie, is your preference to approve them with your comments, or would you like to bring those to the December meeting with the corrected comments?
I think we can approve with the corrected comments.
Okay.
Make that motion.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Dave, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let me get back to I have all my attachments up in here.
That's what service contract.
Service contracts. Any questions on the district? PCOEs are just information only.
Like if they're mostly free or income coming in.
Yes, they are. Nice work. We tried.
Move to approve USD.
Thank you, Leslie.
I'll second.
Dave, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any questions, even though PCOE is just information only, any questions on the county side? Okay, hearing none, check registers for the month of October.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Jody.
Well, second.
Thank you, Jolene. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to field trips. Any questions on the field trips?
I have kind of maybe a question for Christie. The are college field trips like this happening district-wide still? And I know COVID, we kind of got away from it, but I really like the fact that we're doing those college field trips.
Yeah, I do believe Portola High went to UNR this week. I wonder if they went with the snow. I think it was scheduled for this week. So is that what you're referencing?
Yeah.
Yes. Portola High is doing it. I don't know if Quincy High or Chester or Greenville have this scheduled, other than our trips to Feather River College, but they can be. There's no restrictions on them.
I know Greenville High was scheduled to go yesterday. I don't think they made it up.
We're rescheduling because we had to, we weren't able to go due to the snow.
I'm glad to hear it's planned.
So do we have to approve this even that didn't happen?
The trip itself, because it's out.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. State. All right. All right. So we're seeking approval on the field trips.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Jolene. Leslie, did you get it?
No, Jody.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. And donations. Thank you so much for the donations that we received. We had some on the PCOE side and on the district side.
I'll move to approve, need the PCOE side approved?
No, just I said thank you on the PCOE, just on the PUSD side.
Move to approve the PUSD side.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. All right, everyone, that's going to move into closed session at this time. Okay. Okay, confirming you can hear me okay?
We can, wait for Portola to come back online, it looks like.
Perfect. And I was told just to shut this computer.
Hey, Bill, can you hear us? Oh, there.
Okay, are we back online?
Yes.
Okay. Christy, we're live streaming again? Okay, all right. Coming back to you all at 7:42 from closed session. There was no action taken. Next item are our personnel transactions. Just a reminder, the PCOE is information only. Are there any questions on the PUSD HR agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you, Jolene.
Again.
Thank you, Leslie. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. Any future agenda items on the next board meeting?
No.
Hearing none. It's been a pleasure, all. Enjoy.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you for your service. Don't ignore my phone calls. I'm still going to call.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. The meeting is adjourned at 7:42.